To my friends in Saudi Arabia, I've been your biggest champion. I think the Crown Prince has taken Saudi Arabia in a completely different direction in a good way. But here's what I want to say to Saudi Arabia tonight. I'm willing to do a mutual defense agreement with your country to give you protection in perpetuity. Under the agreement I've been pushing, and I hope we can continue to talk about, if you're attacked by Iran, we would go to war for you.
It appears that the senator from South Carolina is now experiencing delusions where he believes that he is the president of the United States and can make deals with foreign countries like Saudi Arabia. But Cenk, I don't know, maybe I'm suffering from amnesia. Maybe there was some election that I forgot about where the senator, unfortunately, from South Carolina, got elected as president and is now making security agreements with Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, so there's two interesting parts of this story. One is the outrageous lies of Lindsey Graham, including the implicit lie that he's in charge of foreign policy for America. But secondly, and very interestingly these days, he's getting called out by others on the right in a very significant way. So it looks like comeuppance is in Lindsey Graham's future, Anna. But the only problem is I think that he might actually kind of enjoy that type of thing.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. I don't want to think about anything that Lindsey Graham might enjoy. But for now, why don't we move on to some of the unhinged things he's been saying during his cable news appearances. So he has started making threats against US allies who, want to do the smart thing and stay out of war with Iran. And that includes Saudi Arabia, by the way. Now, the State Department issued mandatory departure orders for diplomats in Saudi Arabia following Iran's attacks on the embassy in Riyadh. Now, the Saudi Defense Ministry said that the embassy had been attacked by 2 drones, resulting in limited fire and minor damage to the building. Now, Senator Graham tried to use that attack to basically goad Saudi Arabia into joining the United States and Israel in attacking Iran. Here's what he posted on X. It is my understanding the kingdom refuses to use their capable military as a part of an effort to end the barbaric and terrorist Iranian regime who has terrorized the region and killed 7 Americans. Question, why should America do a defense agreement with a country like the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia that is unwilling to join a fight of mutual interest? Okay, first of all, there is reporting indicating that Saudi Arabia was egging Jared Kushner on to essentially convince his father-in-law, Donald Trump, to go to war with Iran. And it looks like that did happen, okay? On top of that though, Saudi Arabia, yes, is getting attacked by Iran. Our, installations, US installations in Saudi Arabia specifically are getting attacked by Iran. And I'm sorry, is there a problem with the war you ordered, Mohammed bin Salman? Is there a problem with the war you ordered? And by the way, the US is supposed to be defending Saudi Arabia. They're our ally, but we don't have the capacity to do that because we depleted our interceptors. So we're using those capabilities specifically to protect Israel, not our other allies, including Saudi Arabia.
Anna,
anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Let me just jump in on Saudi Arabia for a second. So both the Saudis, the Israelis, and the Americans were way overly arrogant at the beginning of this war. They thought, oh, what could Iran do to us, right?
Well, they're finding out.
They are finding out. And the Saudis made the mistake, and so did the UAE, of thinking that America was going to protect them because there's American bases on there, right? What they didn't realize is America doesn't care about Americans, let alone Saudis or the citizens of the United Arab Emirates. We reserved all of our defenses for Israel. So that's why they're so livid in Saudi Arabia. They're like, you want me to join the war? We're the ones getting bombed. We got no defenses here. And Israel's the one that wanted this war the most. They're completely defended. And now you want me to risk more of my guys for Israel's war? nah, this is a bridge too far. And we showed you guys a couple of days ago, Financial Times story of some of the Gulf partners now saying, you know what, guys, we're spending all our money defending ourselves, so I guess we don't have money for any more investments in America or Israel. So they're super pissed.
Good. It's about time our government learns that there are real consequences to getting dragged into fighting wars for a foreign country. But Lindsey Graham continued with his post on X saying that Americans are dying and the US is spending billions, in fact, $1 to $2 billion a day, to dislodge the terrorist Iranian regime that threatens the region. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia seems to be issuing statements and doing things in the background that are marginally helpful, but unwilling to participate in military operations to end the reign of terror coming out of Iran. Well, it could be because the Saudis understand that they would be dealing with a real reign of terror if they actually got dragged into a war like the morons in the United States government did. He ends the statement with hopefully Gulf Cooperation Council countries will get more involved as this fight is in their backyard. If you are not willing to use your military now, when are you willing to use it? By the way, it's very easy for Senator Graham in his cushy office to post posts about war when he doesn't have to worry about his own life being at jeopardy. Now, he ended with anonymous, hopefully this changes soon. If not, consequences will follow. So now we're threatening Saudi Arabia, an ally, with consequences if they don't get dragged into a war that we stupidly got dragged into on behalf of Israel. Now, according to a community note that was issued on Graham's post, which was translated from Arabic, it said, claims that Saudi Arabia refuses to use its military forces are misleading. Since March 1st, Saudi defenses have intercepted dozens of Iranian drones and missiles targeting Riyadh. But that's not what Senator Graham is talking about. He's talking about offensive capabilities. He wants Saudi Arabia to join the United States and Israel in attacking Iran. So here's more from Graham. Let's take a look.
If President Trump had not done this, they could have had a nuclear capability within months, weeks, not months. And if they had a weapon, they would use it. To all those who don't believe that, you're stupid. You're a fool. And I hate to be so harsh. People got Hitler wrong. Donald Trump is the right man at the right time. To our allies, if you can't join this fight, what fight are you going to join?
And look, it's bad enough that he's trying to escalate the situation in the Middle East, but Lindsey Graham is never satisfied. He wants to meddle in other countries and engage in other conflicts as well. Not only does he want regime change in Iran, he's looking for a regime change in other parts of the world. And he's issuing threats to anyone who gets in the way. Take a look.
I'm not looking for a fair fight. If we get in a fight, I want to win it. I want to win it quick. I'm in Miami. You see this hat? Free Cuba. Stay tuned. Yeah. The liberation of Cuba is upon us. To Spain. You won't let us use your our air bases in your country to stop a homicidal regime from getting nuclear weapons that terrorize the world. To Lebanon. There is a military leader in charge of the Lebanese army that I don't trust as far as I can throw him. He is willfully ignoring Hezbollah. He's not disarming Hezbollah. There were rockets fired from areas that were supposed to be cleared by the Lebanese army. Let's get somebody in charge of the Lebanese military that will use it. To Saudi Arabia, our embassy was hit in Riyadh. Do you not have an obligation to join the fight with us? You've yet to do that. So if you do not believe the American embassy being attacked in Riyadh would trigger mutual self-defense, maybe we shouldn't do a treaty with you. To our friends in the United Arab Emirates, you joined the Abraham Accords when nobody else would. You've been a great partner, but you said today publicly at the UN, your country would not be used to join the fight against the Ayatollah's regime. This is so disappointing.
Free Cuba. How about free the American people from neocon war hawks like Lindsey Graham, who steal our money in the form of taxes and funnel it over to these stupid interventions that don't benefit the American people at all. Man, there's a lot to say about that video, Cenk, but I've been talking for a while, so I'll go to you.
Yeah. So Lindsey Graham's now the president. He's giving directives to every country on earth. Now to Uruguay, what I say is your soccer team's a little overrated in the World Cup, and that's why you have to serve Israel, okay? So if you don't, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble, okay, you Nazis? Now everybody who opposes Israel and war are the modern day Nazis. You understand me? We're all gonna die from nukes. Now, not in months, but in weeks. Not in hours, but in minutes. Not in minutes, but in seconds. You're all gonna die right now if you don't go to war for Israel. And to Luxembourg, I say you might be a small country, but you could sacrifice every man, woman, and child there for Israel. If you don't, you're not a good ally. And to Irkutsk, Senator, Irkutsk is on a risk sport, it's not a real country. And to Yakutsk, no, that's also on a risk sport. No, there's no amount of war that will satiate Lindsey Graham. So warmonger extreme, neocon, gets tons of money from defense contractors, and of course, tons of money from the Israeli lobby.
Yep, that's exactly right. Now, Megyn Kelly, who's kind of been on one on this topic especially, decided to be openly critical about Graham's, ridiculous fear-mongering and war cheerleading. Here's what she said. When did Lindsey Graham become our president? In the past 24 hours, he's threatened Lebanon, Cuba, the Saudis, the wider Arab region, and now, checks notes, Spain. By the way, Spain is so lit. Oh, I love it so much. Spain's like, what are you guys doing? This is dumb. We want nothing to do with this.
Anna, I gotta tell you the best story.
Olay, okay? Olay. I say that.
Olay, 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 olay.
Olay, olay.
Okay.
Olay, olay.
This is an awesome story of Israel is ironically bringing the world together in their hatred of them, right? And not because they're Jewish, you knuckleheads, despite the fact that they're Jewish, because they've done so much war, so much damage, so much genocide. Anyways, so Spain is not gonna participate in this barbarism, and God bless you, Spain. In Turkey, they're so happy that Spain is not participating in the war that before soccer match in Turkey, the Turkish fans started singing the Spanish national anthem.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah, that's an awesome story.
That is an awesome story. No, I mean, look, you know why? Because it's inspiring to see a country stand up to Israel.
Yes.
A European country stand up to Israel. So I love to see it. And look, Lindsey, I don't know what they've got on Lindsey Graham. I think that there's some compromat. That's my speculation.
Oh, for sure.
But aside from that, homeboys bought. Let's take a look at the AIPAC tracker. $4.6 million from AIPAC. Yeah.
By the way,
yeah.
So in my entire lifetime, Lindsey Graham has been on television approximately 2.5 million times, right?
Unfortunately, yeah.
I mean, I don't know that a senator's been on television more than Lindsey Graham in the last 20, 30 years, right? Not once did a single TV network clarify he's taken millions of dollars from the Israeli lobby. They don't think that's relevant? They don't think it's relevant that a greasy politician has taken $4.6 million from one specific lobby, the same exact lobby that he supports 100% and that he lies for on their air. But they keep that fact from their audience because then you might find out who our politicians work for. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.